do I need to balance my trailer tires? Well, stick around. If you'll hang out till the end of the video, I'm going to give you my 2 cents. Is it worth spending the extra money, spending the extra time to balance your trailer tires or even your trailer wheels? We'll get into that. So let's move over to the shop and get right into it. First of all, I'd like to thank y'all for tuning in to the TrailerSmith. A lot of the comments we've got, most of the comments we got have been great. Open it up for some discussion. We're going to talk about tires again. We just did a video on that, but that's what we're going to talk about today, because I think there's still a lot of misinformation out there about tires, maybe some misunderstanding on it, and just some people just don't know. There's lots of things I don't know, and when I learn, I'm like, man, if I'd have known that 5 years ago or 10 years ago, that would have been good to know, could have saved me some money. So you seen us on the balancer a while ago. We balanced this tire. We used a tire weight, the old school way to do it. I will say my tire machine is older than dirt. There's some much more modern, better machines out there. I don't do any tire work for the public. We have that. We just do some of our own stuff with that. When I have a set of tires I need balance, if it's going on a customer's unit, I go to our local tire store. We have a couple here in our area, but even between those two, they have different balancing techniques. I would say one is probably better than the other, and that's who we try to use if we can get in there. So we're going to talk about a few things concerning balancing, whether or not it's worth it or not, what my opinion is on it. We have some customers ask for it, some customers that don't want it, but I'm just going to tell you what I think about it. And there's other ways to balance. I'm going to grab my bottle real quick so I can show you something different. So in this bottle is balancing beads. I'm not going to cover the manufacturer of this. There's several different manufacturers out there. On the tire we have wheel weights, front and back. They also make stick-on wheel weights. You'll see that a lot on your aluminum wheels, so they don't put an outer weight on there to look ugly on your fancy polished aluminum or high-end wheels. I will say tire balancing from the manufacturer is something new. Hasn't come standard. Most of the time it has become more standard here lately. This has been around for a while. I'll open this up. We'll waste a little bit of it to see if you can see that in my hand. For all y'all guys that want good camera quality, I'm gonna try to be still. We're gonna try to see, can we zoom in on that? Move it around a little bit more. Looks like little glass beads. Try to get most of them in there. If we miss one, it's gonna throw the balance off. So this and this do pretty much the same thing. They balance the tire. You heard me say earlier balancing your wheels, and you may think I'm crazy on that. I will tell you, in the trailer wheel industry, not all trailer wheels are created equal. In the automotive industry, not all automotive wheels are created equal. If I'm balancing a tire and wheel for something here on one of our service trailers or one of our personal trailers, I will balance my wheel first. Because if you have a wheel that they didn't get the center correctly, or that it's just a bad build, and you put a tire on it, you may have to put a ton of weight on that. Occasionally we'll even have one that will not balance once you put the tire on it, and you have to do a new wheel at that time. So I prefer myself to balance a wheel first, then put the tire on, then do a final balance. Now I will say this, when I'm balancing the wheel, I'm not putting any weight on it. I'm just looking to see how true it is. And it ain't got to be perfect, but if it's way out, like if it's showing you need, 2 or 3 ounces on one side, probably not going to be able to balance that dude. It needs to be close, but I'm not going to put any weight on that. I'm just looking to see how off it is, how true it is before I spend the time to put the tire on it. With this method here, this is used one of 2 ways. It will come in a little bag that is designed for whatever tire size you're running. They will throw the bag in there at the time that they're mounting the tire. The bag will disintegrate almost immediately when you get up to road speed, and these beads will find the spot that it needs within the tire. These have been around for a while. I hear great feedback on them. Really have not had any negative feedback on them. You can find some negative feedback online, but you can find negative or positive feedback about anything online. There's lots of opinions out there, and you know what they say about lots of opinions? There's lots of opinions out there. So the thing with this is, say if you were to get some mud buildup or some pickup on there and you had an unbalanced tire, these are going to go to the opposite side of it to try to help you balance until you sling it off. So they're going to be moving around. That being said, one method is to take an existing tire that maybe did not come balanced, take the valve stem out, pour this in, and while that will work, and it will likely work fine, if there's any moisture in this wheel, or depending if they use the wrong lubricant to mount the tire onto the wheel, it could cause these to gum up. So I really prefer breaking it down, looking on the inside to make sure it doesn't have balance beads in there. They should have a cap on it that notes, or some type of sticker to say it does have balance beads. But I don't prefer this method. It is quicker. You don't have to pay for the mount and dismount, but that's just a choice you're going to have to make. And remember, what I say or what anybody says, you're the one that has to do your own research, do your homework. Don't just believe me, watch other people, make your own decision in that. I personally still use the weight method more than anything, and it's probably just because I'm hard-headed and don't like to change my ways. This may be better, but again, it's just an opinion. I mean, I know there's some of y'all out there that still think Pennzoil is the best to put in your engine, and if that's okay, and if you can live with that, just keep putting on the Pennzoil. I don't do that, but we can still get along as friends at the end of the day. You'll also see something on here. Some of y'all have pointed this out in the past, and I know some of y'all tire gurus on there will point this out today. These little dots, they're not always on there, and they haven't always been on there. You got a red dot and a yellow dot. Sometimes the yellow dot's not there, sometimes neither dot is there. Those are there for a reason. Those are not there for Christmas decorations. Those are there to tell you something about the tire. Tell the tire guy something about the tire. They tell high points, they tell low points in the tire. Most people and most information you're going to find is going to say that this red dot should be close to this valve stem, and you'll see that it's not here. I will say these dots are probably rarely in the right positions when I see them come in from the factory, whether it's a trailer tire or whether it's an automobile. Now, on an automobile, it's a little bit different. On an automobile, some of your nicer wheels will have a little indentation somewhere on the wheel. That shows a certain point to where one of these dots are supposed to go. I'm not going to get into that. That is up to whoever you're going to use to mount your tires, whether or not they use that. There's some guys that do not go by this whatsoever, and there's some guys that live by it. You can find tons of information on there. Do your homework. I don't worry about it as much on trailer tires. This already comes balanced. I did check the balance on this tire before we shot the video because I didn't want to put a bad tire on there. We'd look stupid. No, I did check the balance. I want to make sure it was okay. This does have weights front and back. So I still like the old method just because I'm an old method kind of guy, but that doesn't mean this isn't a great product. I will say this is getting very, very common from our manufacturers, and people just retro balancing their tires after the fact. So the question we get, and here's a comment that I hear a lot, it's just a trailer tire. Well, you're right, it's just a trailer tire. So if it's just a trailer tire, why even put air in it? Why change it out when it gets bald? If you get a nail in it, just leave the nail in it. It's just a trailer tire, right? No, it is just a trailer tire. But since it's just a trailer tire, why not go ahead and balance it? Get it balanced, because here's what it can do. It can help you. It's likely not going to hurt you. It may not make a difference. You may not pull enough to justify balancing your tires. You may not put enough mileage. You may not get up to enough highway speed to get there, but it's not going to hurt. But what it can do, it can save the life of the tire. It's stated it can help with fuel mileage. If you keep up with your fuel mileage that close, you're much better than me. I don't keep up with my fuel mileage. I will tell you this, especially on your bigger tires, like your 14 ply and greater, especially when you get up to the 16s and 18s, those wheels and tires are super heavy. And if you have a wobbly out around tire, it will shorten the life of the bearing. It will cause your oil cap or your dust caps to come off just due to the vibration. It can cause excessive treader bounce when unloaded. And during that excessive treader bounce, it can prematurely wear out your suspension. So if you were to ask me the question today, TrailerSmith, is it worth balancing my tires 100% of the time? That is my opinion, and my opinion only. If you disagree with me, I'm not going to argue with you. That's your opinion, and I fully support you in your opinion. But my opinion is, whether you're doing it the traditional way, whether you're doing it with a balanced bead, I'm going to recommend balancing your trailer tires every time. If you own a trailer today and they're not balanced, go take those things in. They probably haven't been rotated. Probably need the air checked on them. Probably need to check the date on them and make sure they're okay, and get them balanced. It's not going to hurt you, but it is going to help you. And if you say it's just a trailer tire, you're right. Just go ahead and balance it. It's just a trailer at the end of the day, but the more you take care of it, the more you maintain it, the safer it's going to be for you and the motoring public, and the more life you're going to get out of it. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that this will, if nothing else, if you don't go out today and say, I'm balancing my tires, hopefully this sparks some interest and you'll do some of your own research. That's really what we're trying to do, is to make you think critically on it. Hopefully you learn something. I try to learn something every day, and most days I would say I'll learn something. Sometimes the hard way, sometimes just through luck, sometimes the easy way. Get your tires balanced, do your research on it if you're a skeptic, and see if it's worth it. But in my opinion, from what I've seen over the years, it's important to balance. Now, if you don't check your air pressure and keep your tires pressured up, and we actually have a video on that, we'll leave a link in the description below. It don't matter if you balance or not. That tire has to be aired up, tire has to be in good condition, and balance all goes together. If you're doing one and not the other, you're really just wasting your time and money. And at the end of the day, then it is just a trailer tire. It's nothing more, nothing less. It's likely going to fail and likely wear out. And if you decide to balance, the next question is, well, do I just balance in the beginning? Does that last forever? How often do I balance? I'm going to recommend you check the balance on it. Depending on how much you pull, I'm going to check my balance likely once a year on there, just to see if you have any weird tire wear. It is nothing to sling a weight off. The hammer-on weights are better than the stick-on weights, in my opinion. If the stick-on weights are prepped correctly, they'll last. But I just got my personal vehicle done here not too long ago, and they made it about 40 miles and slung both of the sets of weights off the front wheels. Had to go back and get it redone. I was nice enough to clean my wheel for them, so they didn't have to go to the extra trouble that they charged me for in the beginning. If you have these, you're not going to have to rebalance with these, but you may want to have it checked. You may want to, put it on a machine and see what it says. But that is one of the selling points with this. It's gonna find, as the tire wears, as the tire goes through its stages of life, it is going to keep up with that. So that's really one of the selling points, I think, behind this, is the longevity of this. And again, I've seen both, and there may be a point to when I completely get here. I'm not going to say I'm not going to get here. I definitely use this more than I ever have, and I see it more than I ever have. Again, I'm just the old school on the hammer-on weights. I just like the looks of them. I mean, they look great. Check them once a year. It's not going to hurt anything. Do that when you're doing your normal maintenance. If you stretch that out a little bit, it's not the end of the world, but just do a visual on your tire. You should be doing a walk around. If you don't do it every time you pull, if you're just pulling occasionally, do a walk around, see if you have any spots. Check your air pressure on there, and again, check our air pressure video out on that. But I just think it's worth it. I think it's worth the time, effort, and the trouble. And after you do it, I think you'll agree. And if y'all don't agree, hey, that's fine. We can still get along as friends. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you decide through your own research to go out and balance your tires and get you maybe a smoother ride down the road and maybe extend the life of your bearing. Don't forget to leave us a comment. Tell us what you think, video ideas. Check out the video on tire pressure. I think that will help a lot of people. We had a tire come in this morning. Actually, on a brand new trailer, it only had 20 PSI in it, and it's supposed to hold 65 PSI. So it was close, but not close enough. And we will see you on the next one.